Takže príjemné popoludne prajem. It's working. Vítam vás v úvode krátkeho polhodinového bloku, ktorý bude venovaný veľmi zaujímavej téme ako zbohatnúť v zdravotníctve. A táto časť bude v angličtine, takže tí z vás, ktorí by potrebovali tlmočenie, tak prosím, zoberte si staničky. So I'll switch to English now. I would like to welcome here on stage Adam Gray from Israel, from Kaplan Medical Center. And we would spend next approximately half an hour in discussion about the Israeli ecosystem in healthcare and how Israel does support creation of innovations. Adam is co-founder and manager at the Kaplan Innovation Department at the Kaplan Medical Center. Adam also led a number of impactful medical projects related to innovations. He's also a co-founder and the managing. He's managing the team of what's called the Booster. The Booster.
Booster, yeah.
The Booster. The acceleration program in Israel, and we will try to get most from Adam on what could be an inspiration for Slovakia in the area of innovations in healthcare. My name is Samuel Arbe, and I'll be leading the talk with Adam. So Adam, we can go straight to the discussion. So maybe just to introduce yourself to our audience, maybe a little bit about from your background.
Sure.
What's your profession? What's your education?
I'm an entrepreneur. I've had a few startups that I started. I went through all cycles of startups before it was cool, before everybody did it. So I had to learn by myself. And I have built a few accelerators for startups in Israel. And one of them was even for Slovakian entrepreneurs. It was like 4 years ago, something like this. We had 15 or 20 entrepreneurs that came to Tel Aviv to learn how to do startups Israeli style. It was awesome. And for the last 3 years, I've been managing innovation center in Kaplan Hospital, which has been great. That's it, more or less. Creative thinker, entrepreneur.
Mm-hmm. So about the innovation center and about the entire innovation ecosystem in Israel, in Israeli healthcare, how does it work on practical terms? What do you do? Maybe what do you do differently to others? What you find is unique for Israel? And what you find is something that really works in Israel?
It's a good question because Israel is a startup nation, and 3 or 4 years ago, Israel decided to inject innovation inside hospitals. So in each hospital, they put an innovation manager, which comes from the world of startups and entrepreneurship. That was a great idea, by the way, which resulted in a lot of innovation and improvements. So other than having these innovation hubs inside each hospital, there's a network between us. So this innovation centers communicate between themselves as well. So they communicate inside the hospital, and it's like a Bluetooth chip. You just insert to a hospital, like a dumb hospital, you insert a Bluetooth chip that knows how to speak with other academia, knows how to speak with other hospitals, create cooperations, research, crazy projects. It just like lit up everything. So we took what we do really well, which is startups and innovation, and we put it together with hospitals and healthcare, and it resulted in a lot of.
So on practical terms, within a hospital, there is an innovation hub or a small innovation center. How many people is that? What do they do? Is it 1, 2, more? Does it depend on the size of the hospital? And what does the cooperation between the hospitals looks like? What projects do they cooperate? Do they develop jointly something? Is there a competition?
Yeah. So the first part is, what was the first part of the question?
So what does those small hubs or the innovation centers in the hospitals, what do they do?
I mean, what's their how many people?
Job?
Yeah, right. Okay, so it started with everybody. It started with a single person for the first year. And of course, the bigger hospitals had a bigger budget, and slowly they put more and more people inside. And the bigger you are, of course, the more innovation you will have. But it doesn't leave behind the smaller ones. Kaplan is a medium size, and I was alone for 2.5 years, and still we did a lot of things. So it's good to start, and even with one person you can start really well. And the cooperation between them, we have group meetings every few weeks. We talk about everything. We talk about the problems we face. We talk about research we have, we compare notes, and we create a lot of cooperation, also with academia. So one story could be that we have an apartment for people recovering from stroke or from trauma or from whatever. And it's really simple, just a little apartment inside the hospital, and people come there in order for them to be evaluated. If they can go back home, what's their cognitive abilities, what are their motorical abilities, and this is a really painful work, and it takes a lot of time. And one day I was invited to my colleagues in academia, which they do a lot of technology. And there they took me around, and I saw we got to this smart apartment. They have a smart apartment. It's full of cameras and sensors and all sorts of stuff, and it was amazing. And I talked to them afterwards, and this amazing apartment is empty mostly. There are no patients there. There are no people because they're academia. So I was looking at this, and can you imagine what a creative thinker...
It was fully functional, but empty. No one was using it.
Every now and then they have somebody they can test stuff on it, but it's like empty. So I put one and one together, and I asked them, listen, you have the know-how and the sensors and everything, and we have the patients. Doesn't it make sense that we would cooperate? And they were like, wow, of course. And out of that, we started working on it, and now it's one of the biggest and most interesting projects combined academia and healthcare in Israel.
So, so you have these centers inside the hospitals. You work jointly on the projects within the hospital, but you also cooperate between different institutions, obviously. But how does the life cycle of a project, if I can say, call it this way, looks like? So who's driving it? Because also in Slovakia we have a lot of doctors, we have excellent research facilities, we have excellent hospitals, but what's missing is these innovation managers. So how does it work? Who starts?
That's also a great question of infrastructure. Let's take a hospital as one example, but you have currently in any hospital, you have people with ideas, you have people with research, you have people with projects starting, but they're alone. They're alone. You know, if they have time, being a doctor is a full-time job, and trying to move a startup and So you have some people who are very, very talented and are able to do it, but they're very few. So a project would look like, for the first year, I went to morning meetings with every department in the hospital, and I introduced myself, and I told them what I do and what I'm looking for, and I encouraged them to come to me and tell me all their ideas, and I can help them. And this is how we started. And you have this doctor who has this idea for a stent for the throat that would not, it's an idea, you know. He doesn't know if it will work. He doesn't know how startups work. He doesn't know how to solve problems. And so we meet once, we meet twice, and we start playing with it. And we create a 3D printer, and we test it on patients. And this is the start of a project. And there are many projects like this. And the way I see it is, even if a doctor has a not so good idea, it doesn't matter, because my job is to make him an entrepreneur. My job is to teach him that an idea is a starting point, and you can make it better and better and better, and sometimes they fall, and then you'll have another one. It doesn't matter. Once you're touched by entrepreneurship, you're like, it happens to you, and then you'll have another idea and another idea.
Maybe just for you in the audience, we can also use Slido. So if you have questions for Adam, please feel free to put it on Slido. The hashtag is Jesena Itapa. You also mentioned, I mean, Israel is known for being a startup nation. So you're also building the startups within the hospitals. How is this organized? Because you have to have someone with the idea. You have to have someone who is supporting the idea from the point of view of business acceleration. You need someone who is providing the infrastructure. So how do you build your healthcare startups?
So this, the Innovation Center has two faces. It has one face towards the health staff with ideas and stuff. Actually, I have 3 legs. One is to help doctors and staff to create their own ideas and like create a kind of accelerator for them and teach them and go through the things. The other thing I do is I bring technology and cooperation from the outside in. So that creates also some more projects. The third thing is we teach the organization to help itself by all sort of methodologies such as design thinking and unmet needs and all that stuff. So there are 3 legs to this innovation. And we get also, I work on getting grants and budgets from the hospital, from other bodies. If I get a cooperation with another academia, it's worth money. Like if this place is working on this smart apartment, they're putting a lot of resources into it. This is equivalent to a lot of money. Israel has, the government has many grants for innovation, and we'll talk about it probably.
Yes, that was also my follow-up question. Maybe one small sub-question to this. So if you're establishing a new startup, a new firm, a new company, who is owning it? So is it the doctors, the researchers? Is it the hospital? Is it the innovation program? What's the structure?
That's a good question, because doctors are afraid, very afraid to tell their ideas, because they think like the hospital owns it. So there's a lot of unclarity. It's really simple in academia and also in companies, in Intel or whatever. Your IP, your ideas are 60% the establishment's idea. It doesn't matter that you came up with it and you're working on it. Once it's there, 60% of it is the ownership of the company you work with, or the academia you work with, or the hospital you work with. But it took me a lot of time to
So 60% goes to the owner of the idea, or
no,
the hospital?
The hospital or the company, or also academia. It's always like this. And they don't do anything, you know, but they do. They give you a big coverage. Our TTOs are working with our entrepreneurs. They're giving them legal advice. They're searching for patents. They're writing the patents. They do a lot of stuff. And so it's not like you're a doctor with an idea and a laptop. You have like this big back of the hospital, and yeah, it costs you, but it would cost you anyways. So It's important to give them this feeling and this understanding and to provide like the work.
And how often does it happen that someone from outside comes with an innovation and offers it? So as you mentioned, sometimes it comes from inside, from the hospital, but sometimes it's coming from outside. So it can be probably some technological university projects or maybe even companies are coming that we have something, we're developing it, we want to pilot test it with your hospital or with the network. Does it happen also this way?
Yeah, it happens a lot. Once you have an innovation center, you speak the language. So they can approach, they have somebody to approach, because if I'm a company, a startup, and I have some technology, and I want to start working with a hospital, who am I going to talk to? Who am I going to call? There's no one to call. There's no one to talk to. And this innovation center, you can talk to the innovation manager, and he will find the right doctors or the right people to test it. And sometimes they pay for it, and sometimes it's a co-production. So yeah, we have a lot of outside. And now, a few months ago, I started a new program that I built, that we take entrepreneurs from outside and we inject them inside the hospital, and they go around and they're making notes and they're researching and they're looking for problems. Because one of the strongest thing a hospital has, it has a big list of major problems and major unmet needs, and these unmet needs are gold. It's just gold. So there are so many companies who would love to know the unmet needs of a hospital in order to create the solutions and the products. And of course, if you work on a good problem, it doesn't matter exactly your solution, but if the problem is worth it, you'll hit gold.
So you think it's a good idea to put together a list of problems and start working on them?
Yes, but sometimes the doctors themselves, they do not notice the problems. Like, you do not know your own problems. Like, you see the world and that's it. This is how we do it. We take it from here, it comes to here. They're used to this life, so they don't see the problems. But if I would go in, or you would go in a hospital and you say, listen, why do you guys put it from there to there, and then he takes it, and then why does it work this way? And everybody will tell you, I don't know.
You also mentioned the issue of trust. So how do you deal with the trust? So if I would be in the place of a scientist or a doctor, and I would have this brilliant idea, and I would like to patent it and keep it and make myself very rich, how do I trust the system that, okay, it's worth doing it with you or with someone who is an innovation manager? How do you overcome this?
Yeah, trust is one piece of a big misunderstanding. I like to put stuff on the table. Like, it doesn't matter whatever your idea is, it's the hospitals. That's it. This is a situation. But you're in good hands, and there's a team to help you do your thing. So you're gonna get a lot out of this. And I had many conversations where people come and talk to me, and again, and we have coffee and we talk about the thing, and they're afraid to say it, and eventually I'm like, man, say it, I'll help you do your thing, because if you are going to keep this inside of you, nothing's going to happen. You have 5 years of work. When are you going to start? Start now. Let's start working on it. And people are like, okay, let's do it.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So there are first questions coming to Slido. There is a question from Pedro. Are you planning to introduce some products or ideas from Israel to Slovakia?
I would love to do that. I would love to do that. As I said before, I've had this relationship with Slovakia and your team, with the accelerator that we've built, and we've talked, which was funded by your government. And we have talked so many times on how to help Slovakia develop faster and create more entrepreneurship inside. So we really talked about it a lot. So I got to learn about Slovakia and people, to know people, and I really want to help. And I do in my own way. Also coming here is a part of it. And wherever I see, like we had this talk 2 days ago, that you can say, well, there's nothing here. Like there's not enough going on here. It's small, it's not strong enough. But what I see is just potential. When I see something like this, I say, okay, London is full of ideas and entrepreneurship and everything. It's full, it's finished. Here, it's just beginning. There's so much to do here. You should look at it like this, and this is the state of mind of entrepreneurship. We see potential everywhere. So I think there's a lot of potential in Slovakia, and I think if you guys manage to invest in this, you'll get a lot in return. And investing always looks like throwing money or resources to the garbage, okay? Like if you plant a little seed and you throw water at it, this water is gone. You have nothing. You've been watering it for 1 week and there's nothing. So you have 500 liters of water are gone. That's it. But it doesn't work this way because investing is a long-term thing. And you can always invest. You don't need money to invest. You can invest your own time and talent.
So this brings me back to a question of funding, how to finance innovations. So how does it work in Israel? Here in Slovakia, we quite often and sometimes a little bit too much rely on government money. Is it the same, or does it work differently? Is it more private money, or is it hospitals understanding that this is an investment and it's not only gone and never coming back, but it's something we can get something from in the future?
Exactly. So Israel is, let's say, in stage 3 already. So Israelis know about this investing. When you come to a hospital which is new to this innovation stuff, and it is new, if you tell them about it, they can somehow reverse engineer it to see how startups started in Israel, and they understand intuitively that this investment will reap fruit. To start from zero, it's harder, but you need to be specific. Take one hospital, do a lot of work, show everybody that it's possible, and then make it more and more. Investment in Israel, so since everybody understands it, there's more investment. The hospitals invest, private people invest, angels invest, VCs invest, and the government invest now. But waiting for governments is a bad idea. It's much better to do stuff and create projects and create infrastructure and then tell the government, hey, there's stuff going on here. If you pour a little bit of money and water on this thing, it's going to grow. And if you prove yourself and you do give them a place to put their energy and money in, they'll come.
Another question on Slido, comment/question. I would put the empty apartment, Mishko is commenting, I would put the empty apartment on Airbnb, but your solution seems to work. Are there any spin-offs from this success? So
there are many spin-offs, and this is interesting to many hospitals and people. It's just a beginning of a project which feels like a big, like you find like a thread and you pull it and something big is going to happen. There are many spin-offs, many things are happening around it, and people want to join, and other hospitals are interested and they want their own versions. And I always say yes to cooperation. So I would say, let us finish this stage. After this stage, we'll figure out what your needs are and we'll adapt to your needs. And the whole win-win state of mind is the only way to go. When I see or I meet somebody and I have an idea, I have to make an effort not to see what I'm going to get from it, to understand what I can do for them. And if I can create value for these people that are in front of me, I have a business. So yeah, a lot of stuff is happening from it.
Can you maybe share more examples, down-to-earth projects which you have participated on and were a success? One question, and second question about failures, but we come back to it.
Yeah, so let's start with failures. Failures are also a state of mind. I think it's Edison that said, I've never failed. I have just found 10,000 ways a light bulb doesn't work. He doesn't look at it as failure. So entrepreneurship doesn't look at failures in that way. It's just the way that you run through. So I look at it at scale. I open up projects all the time, and I look at it at scale. I don't care if they succeed or not, because I know that the more I open and the more variety we have, some of them will do well, some of them will die, some of them will come back, the entrepreneur will come back and with another idea. So it's all the time like putting a train on the track and sliding it, chuk, 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 and it doesn't matter if it stops or it continues. I help them all the time, and I connect them all the time, but it doesn't, I don't look at it as failure. I just know that I need to put a lot of trains on tracks, and some of them will arrive.
What if the failure is expensive?
There are ways to deal with that, and it's important to have the responsibility for failures and not to be expensive. So you can know before if something works. And for example, you wanted a project, for example. I had an idea, a simple idea, of creating a wristband for identifying patients. It sounds trivial and simple, but it doesn't exist yet. So there are many mistakes. The wrong patient is going to the wrong surgery. Like crazy things happen. And everybody's talking about really complicated solutions and blah, 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 blah. And I said, no, I'm gonna do it simple. I went to a company. I created this simple technology. I paid like 5,000 euros. And I tested it, and it worked. And after I did this little thing, I showed the management this thing. And they were like, wow. And then we showed it at some conference, and everybody was wow. And then everybody's on board. And what did I do? I didn't do anything. I did.
So what was the technology? So was it a wristband?
A wristband? No, it's this. You're trying to eliminate problems in the beginning. This is entrepreneurship. You're trying to eliminate, because you know that they are used to making this bracelet. So if you're going to bring a new bracelet, they're going to ask, wait, where are we going to get these bracelets and how we're going to put it? You don't want to move, to shake the boat too much. So it's the same bracelet. Everything is the same. You just take this little chip. It's a sticker. You put it on, and you have this, any phone can like, doo-doo. I see your face, I see your first name, first letter, few numbers, nothing confidential too much, and I know it's you. That's it. And this project has started because of it. So I tried it before. We call it POC, proof of concept. You probably know this. So you cannot fail hugely. Like you try and you go from one step, another step, another step. And it's very cheap, and you know before that it works, and then you go. You don't go all the way. Just start small, and you do it.
So we have approximately 1 minute left, so if there are any final questions from the audience, please use Slido. But maybe a final question from my side. Itapa is about sharing experience and also transferring interesting examples from abroad. So you're here. What would you recommend to people in Slovakia working in healthcare? What should we do if we want to replicate the success story of Israel and your innovation ecosystem? What should we do? Where should we start?
If we are doing this the entrepreneurial way, let's start with one thing. Take one hospital that is a quality hospital that could care about something like this, and insert an innovation guy in there and give him a few euros and let him work for 1 or 2 years, and you'll see that it works. And also the same thing that I told other entrepreneurs in Slovakia, entrepreneurship is the answer to everything. Entrepreneurship is changing the world everywhere. Healthcare is behind in many ways, like on the ground, the hospitals, they're behind in many ways, and the connection between entrepreneurship and hospitals and healthcare is gonna explode. So just have this in mind and do it. Do it. Open your minds and just do more entrepreneurship in health.
Thank you very much. This was our final question. Adam Gray, applause from the audience. Thank you, Adam.